Austin Andrews here with your beacon. Today we're taking a look at Robert F. Kennedy Jr. exiting the presidential race and endorsing Trump. Some stories surprise me with how little coverage they get, and this is a prime example. After rumors abounded most of last week, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced his exit from the presidential race. There are some complexities to this exit, but the biggest factor is that he has filed paperwork to be removed from 10 swing state ballots, preventing a three-way split of the votes that could have benefited Kamala Harris through RFK Jr. taking votes away from Trump. Of course, in American politics, a third-party candidate, or in this case, independent candidate, is rarely ever newsworthy. But then again, few of the candidates are the nephew of John F. Kennedy, former president. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. went against his family, his former party, the Democrats, and threw his hat in the ring for president nearly 16 months ago. The Democratic Party, in response to candidates like RFK Jr., changed and manipulated the primary of the Democratic Party to tamp down any possibility for anyone besides Biden from winning the primary. One way the Democratic Party took action that protected Biden and negatively affected RFK Jr. was by allowing Biden to reject all challenges for debates. As we saw, one debate in the summer was all it took to push Biden out of the race, but the DNC protected Biden during the primaries from this vector of attack. Another strange rule was the disallowing of candidates to campaign in certain states before a primary took place, which resulted in RFK Jr. being punished and removed from an early primary ballot. On Friday, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced his suspension of the campaign in a 53-minute address that was barely covered by the mainstream media. Not just an independent candidate, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. had commanded a sizable part of the poll, at one time polling in double digits with Biden and Trump. Kennedy spoke scathing words to the party of his father and uncle for the first 15 minutes of his suspension speech.
But I'm sorry to say that while democracy may still be alive at the grassroots, it has become little more than a slogan for our political institutions, for our media, and for our government, and most sadly at all for me, for the Democratic Party. In the name of saving democracy, the Democratic Party set itself to dismantling it, lacking confidence in its candidate, that its candidate could win in a fair election at the voting booth. The DNC waged continual legal warfare against both President Trump and myself. Each time that our volunteers turned in those towering boxes of signatures needed to get on the ballot, the DNC dragged us into court, state after state, attempting to erase their work and to subvert the will of the voters who had signed those petitions. It deployed DNC-aligned judges to throw me and other candidates off the ballot and to throw President Trump in jail. It ran a sham primary that was rigged to prevent any serious challenge to President Biden. Then, when a predictably bungled debate performance precipitated the palace coup against President Biden, the same shadowy DNC operatives appointed his successor, also without an election. They installed a candidate who was so unpopular with voters that she dropped out in 2020 without winning a single delegate.
Kennedy also spoke about some of the specific ways the Democratic Party tried to prevent his independent run.
My uncle and my father both relished debate. They prided themselves on their capacity to go toe-to-toe with any opponent in the battle over ideas. They would be astonished to learn of a Democratic Party presidential nominee who, like Vice President Harris, has not appeared in a single interview or an unscripted encounter with voters for 35 days. This is profoundly undemocratic. How are people to choose when they don't know whom they are choosing? And how can this look to the rest of the world? My father and my uncle were always conscious of America's image abroad because of our nation's role as the template for democracy, the role model for democratic processes, and the leader of the free world. Instead of showing us her substance and character, the DNC and its media organs engineered a surge of popularity for Vice President Harris based upon, well, nothing.
Then Kennedy got to the results of his suspension. Easily, Kennedy could have suspended the campaign, not endorsed anyone, and let it go at that. But instead, Kennedy recognized that where he and Donald Trump align, there is an opportunity to achieve mutual goals. Kennedy made this clear.
Three great causes drove me to enter this race in the first place, primarily. And these are the principal causes that persuaded me to leave the Democratic Party and run as an independent. And now to throw my support to President Trump. The causes were free speech, the war in Ukraine, and the war on our children.
Within minutes, the Kennedy family had produced a rejection of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s endorsement of Trump, and media had already turned Kennedy off. CNN, for example, had only taken the speech for a couple of minutes when they broke away right before Robert F. Kennedy Jr. broke into a massive attack on the media's role in the unfair election process. The family squabble did not deter Robert F. Kennedy Jr., as late Friday afternoon, he made an appearance with President Donald Trump on stage in front of 20,000 in Arizona, where Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was greeted by a roaring crowd.
Tonight, I'm very pleased to welcome a man who has been an incredible champion for so many of these values that we all share, and we've shared them for a long time. I don't think too many of you people have heard of him. He's very low-key. He's a very low-key person, but he's highly respected. He is a great person. I've known him for so long. For the past 16 months, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Man, whoa. And he deserves it. He deserves it.
As they stand on the stage together, USA chants roaring from the Glendale, Arizona crowd, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. looked serious and intent, and Trump began to outline the areas of cooperation that will exist in the Trump administration. In politics, rarely do people agree on everything, and while RFK Jr. and Trump do not agree on everything, it is significant to see them come together in areas of agreement to make a difference for the American people.
I am announcing tonight that upon my election, I will establish a new independent presidential commission on assassination attempts. Today, I'm repeating my pledge to establish a panel of top experts working with Bobby to investigate what is causing the decades-long increase in chronic health problems and childhood diseases, including autoimmune disorders, autism, obesity, infertility, and many more. We want every child in America to grow up and to live a long and healthy life.
Later this week, this program will look at an interview of two health experts that are fighting to improve the lives of Americans. But one of those experts that we'll hear in a future program is actually a policy advisor for both Kennedy and Trump. Could this be a turning point for the health of our nation? We will wait and see, but for now, I'm Austin Andrews, and I'll see you on the next report.